Yeah, Martha Stewart.
Does anybody know how long she was in jail? I think it was a year, but maybe it could be longer. I don't know.
I just remember that year, everybody dressed up as her for Halloween in a jumpsuit. Orange jumpsuit.
They did? I didn't even know that.
It was a very popular costume that year.
Oh, yeah.
Really? I love Martha Stewart. She, like, gives me hope that, like, if I go to prison, I'll be fine.
I love her now, like, after prison, and, like, her whole thing with Snoop Dogg.
Oh, yeah, I love that relationship.
Their lighter big commercials are so funny.
I always wondered if they got high together.
Oh, probably.
You think Martha does it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they joke about it a lot. And I think there's one thing that they're like, you can tell they're both lit.
Oh, yeah?
Really?
Yeah.
Was it in a commercial? Or?
It was like, in like a, I don't know. It was like a cooking thing or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm making it up and we can look it up though.
That would be fun to be in the same room as them.
Oh, definitely.
And just to see that play out.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I wouldn't be intimidated and could participate.
Oh.
Like being high with them.
Uh-huh.
Because there's people I'm like, I don't even know how I would even talk to them if we were in the same room. I would be like Beyonce, I'd be like, I don't even know what I...
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But with that and that situation, I'm like, I think I would just be like, yeah, we're friends. And they probably would be too, because everyone's high. And everyone's like, loves each other.
I'd probably be like smoking with them and I'd be like, oh my gosh, Snoop, can I like have $1 million? Like, I know you got it, like just laying around.
He'd be like, yeah.
Yeah. He'd be like, Snoop Dogg. Anyways, hi, I'm Sienna.
I'm Cooper.
I'm Blakely.
I'm Sean.
And this is the Fake Bitzes podcast. Sorry, Blakely, did you have something you wanted to say?
I did, but we're past it.
Oh, it's okay. Let's go back. That's fine.
No, I was going to say, because you said I think I would survive in jail, you got to remember, she's rich. And so she probably,
true.
like, lived up in jail, where us folk would not get that treatment.
See, I already have a plan. Because I was planning, like, if I do end up in prison, I'm just going to go to, like, the head.
No, what are you doing that you're thinking about prison?
It's okay to be prepared. Don't you like being prepared?
Oh, yeah,
You know?
but, like, I'm doing good things.
Mm-hmm. I just want to be prepared. But, yeah, anyways, that is true. She was rich. So, I'm sure she had a lot on her commissary.
Card?
Yeah.
What's a commissary?
Like, that's where they, like, buy stuff.
It's like where we would get preloaded funds every month. See?
Oh. Okay.
So y'all aren't planning for prison either?
This is news to me.
No.
Well, good for y'all.
I plan to escape prison, like how am I gonna like not get caught?
Like breaking bad, breaking
Prison break?
prison break. Anyways, everybody thought that guy was so fine. I didn't see
And
the
then,
hype.
and then he's like, came out.
Who?
Was he gay?
Yeah. I mean, well after the show ended, but
Oh, Prison Break guy.
the main guy
Never
from
watched
Prison
it.
Break.
Oh, that's hot.
Oh, now you're interested.
Yeah, all of a sudden, straight people bore me. Just kidding. I'm joking. Just kidding.
How does it feel to be a minority?
Don't you hate it? No, I'm joking. Anyways, sorry.
Don't you want to wear your shirt in the pool?
Anyways, we are the Fake Bitzes podcast, and what I wanted to talk about tonight. Okay, so I was like watching this Instagram video, and this person was like telling me, or not telling me, I just felt like they were talking to me. They were just like, what is your like problems as adult that you didn't like, that you wish you would have known as a kid? And he was like just going off on a bunch of things, money wise. And then when I think of my childhood, I just think of like how delusional I was. Some people call it naive, but I really thought I was gonna have a house at 18, and like,
Wow.
yeah, I know, I was so. But anyways, yeah, I felt like everything in my life that I thought was gonna happen just didn't happen, and I'm learning. Everybody's got to learn. But one thing that I wish, like, that caused me a lot of problems as an adult, that I wish I would have known as a kid, was just like being too nice to people, and being like trusting, like wishing that, or just, oh yeah, I'm your friend, blah blah blah. But then I realized that like how much people take advantage of you, and it could be anybody, anywhere, at any moment, and you'd be like, oh, that person was nice, but they were just like really using you. That's how I feel. Like sometimes when I like come across people, so
That they're just gonna take advantage of you.
well, I have bound. Yeah, that's like how I feel. Like when I meet somebody new, I'm just like, okay, don't let them take advantage of you like immediately. And I feel like it's because I do have a lot of trust issues now. So, but whatever. Like everybody has issues.
And I think like I can totally see that because and I'm pretty sure we might have mentioned this in a previous episode, but like I know just with some of the things that I know where you've been taken advantage of, that you're one of the things that it comes from is just how you were always willing to do things for others, and you still are. Like you're not a heartless bitch,
Mm-hmm.
but you definitely were like would go let people inconvenience you, but you would never want to inconvenience anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like I can see how that got taken advantage of, and now I see in your era of
Oh yeah.
like no more. I'm not.
I'm a brand new bitch over here. I think for like my close like friends, I will do anything for. I don't care what it is, like whatever. But just like new people that I come in contact with, I feel like I have a wall up.
Yeah.
I'm still nice. I'm still polite. I have a job now. I try to be professional. So, but like, I just.
See, I feel like I'm a little bit the opposite, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. But like, if I meet somebody and I connect with them, I will give you the world. I really will until you burn me, and you really have to burn me because sometimes I'm a little too forgiving. But once you really burn me, my walls are boom up, and you won't ever come back in.
Yeah. And I would say that I am more like,
You're so forgiving.
I'm forgiving.
Not to like a take advantage point, but you are very forgiving. Please and thank you goes a long way with you. Sorry goes a long way with you.
I want to be forgiven for all the times that I mess forgiveness and like. But I think when I meet, I want to be forgiven for all the times that I mess up.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when I meet a new person, I usually am like blank slate. I like this person, and it stays. I like them, but I think my fault is that I can very easily turn on like, oh, they're not a person I can trust. Like, it's very easy to lose my trust. It doesn't even have to be something where they took advantage of me or anything like that. There will just be something in their personality that I notice that I'm like, ooh, that's a red flag for me. I can't necessarily trust that person. I still like them and want to have them in my life, but I'm not going to rely on them, kind of a thing. And then that's when I throw out boundaries. And I feel like boundaries is definitely something in adulthood that I didn't expect to be such an important aspect of adulthood. Setting boundaries and understanding that they're okay. Like, you're not a bad person for setting boundaries for yourself, especially with family. I think that's a hard thing for all of us where, you know, we grow up, our family is our world, that's everything. And then I think when we get older, we still love our family, but we realize, you know, there are limitations and there are people in our lives that we interact with more often that feel more like family than somebody in my bloodline.
Mm-hmm. I always felt like that because, I don't know, I just feel like family was too judgmental. So I like having different friends, like, who don't even know my family. I always felt like it was nice that I could finally, like, be myself. More so now, like, now that I have a group of friends, like, in the same state, that we hang out regularly, I feel like that more now than I did, like, when I was living in Florida. So.
I think boundaries are so important. Right before I came over, I was having lunch. I didn't eat lunch today, so I guess it's lunch. I was having dinner with my cousin, and we were talking about boundaries too, like super important. And it is really terrifying to set boundaries, especially with family. And I think, yeah, it's super important, and it is okay. Like, yes, they're your family and you love them, but it is okay to set that precedent with them.
And just because you set the boundaries doesn't mean that you don't love them. It's that I know my life, I know what I need to do for myself and my partner or whoever it is that, you know, is that priority. And you set those boundaries to protect yourself and to protect that relationship, so that the friction that's there, the reason for the boundary, isn't, burning a hole in your whole relationship.
Yeah. I think, too, with boundaries, I always get nervous. I'm not the best communicator. It takes me a second to think through my thoughts and how I want to say certain things or how I even feel. And so something that I've learned in therapy, I go to therapy. I think
we love it.
I think most adults, actually I'm taking the words from your mouth, all adults, and I agree with this, that's why I'm saying it, I think all adults, no matter if you're going through something traumatic or not, would benefit from some type of therapy. But I really believe, boundaries. See, words. I would always get nervous that, like, what if I set a boundary and they freak out at me? Like, I can't. That's something that took me a long time, that it's okay if they don't understand your boundary or they freak out. You're still setting a boundary. You're taking care of yourself, and that's okay.
And then, just to add to that, if it kind of will show you a side of some of those family members that, like, if they don't respect that, then it's kind of like, whoa, like, there's some that we've talked about. Okay, so when we talked about in our Am I the Asshole and, like, how would we be in the situation, there was family situations where I was like, I'd cut those people off because they aren't respecting. And so it goes back to the boundaries too, of, like, when you do set that boundary and they're like, you know, if they have that freak out, I think it's kind of a wake up call of, like, yeah. And then you kind of have to, like, weigh out, like, how important is this relationship? And, like, how much do I feel like I need to continue trying to put into it, because I tried to set this boundary and I have to go probably further because, like, look at, you know, their reaction and how they handled that. Yeah, I think it sucks because, like, being nice and trusting, I wish that's something that that existed more in society. I think 100 years ago, 70 years ago even, like, society was way more trusting of each other in general. It was like, yeah, kids, go run down the neighborhood and play in the street because nothing's going to happen to you. And now things are way different this day and age. And even in things like that, with meeting new people and, like, oh my gosh, you know, are they going to be like,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm comfortable setting boundaries. I feel like my next step is, like, just trying not to apologize. Like, no, sorry, like, that I'm setting this boundary. And I'm just trying to feel less guilty about it. Because sometimes I do feel guilty.
I always feel guilty. I think that's kind of what you're saying about boundaries too. And I was going to say, I think what makes us feel the guilt about boundaries is when we don't set them early. So with family, it's really hard because we've established this relationship since our childhood. And then we get to the point where we're like, we're very different people. I still love you and appreciate you and want you in my life. But in order to make that work, we do have to set these boundaries. Whereas with friends and people that come into our lives in adulthood, it's a little bit easier. At least it should be easier if we set the boundaries from the beginning. Mm-hmm. Then we don't have to feel guilty because those boundaries are already in place, and that's what your relationship is kind of built on. And there isn't room for another person to take advantage of the other. I mean, back to Two Hot Takes podcast, which we love. Check out our check out our episode. But Blakely and I were just reviewing one of their episodes. We were talking about it, and, like, it always comes back to boundaries. I feel like I don't know, more than half the time I'm like, if this person would have just set the right boundaries from the beginning, they wouldn't be in the predicament that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Totally agree. Boundaries, yeah. That's something I would definitely tell myself as a kid.
Yeah, and then just to finish, to your point about feeling guilty, we shouldn't feel guilty for setting boundaries because it's not about an angst toward that person that we're putting the boundaries on. It's, in my situation, I think you guys would agree, it's to save the relationship. In order for this relationship to work, we have to set this boundary. Kind of a
I
thing.
like that. Definitely. What's something that you would tell yourself as a kid? Or what are some adult problems that you have that you wish you would have known as a kid?
I want to, before we move on, sorry, I want to just say one last thing. Is that I was told to, if someone doesn't accept your boundary, that's okay, like I said earlier. But also, too, it also teaches you that you need to adjust expectations. You don't need to lower them, but you need to adjust expectations with that person because they can't meet your needs. And that's something that they've got to figure out, but you're still doing okay. So that's the last thing I'll say.
No, that's really good advice. Yeah, and it actually can be a pretty good segue into one of mine that I wasn't prepared for as a child, that adulthood has taught me the hard way. It kind of goes along the same lines of like guilt and feeling judged by family or friends or society. And it's basically just that society looks down on adults who enjoy childish things or childhood things. The stuff from our childhood that we still do as adults, video games, Disney, Harry Potter, these kind of things that people think are just meant for kids. And, there's that whole joke about Disney adults, which I agree with for the most part. Disney adults are crazy, and I'm one of them. But, I think that's something that I wasn't prepared for.
The Disney adults.
The Disney adults, exactly. Or identifying as one of them. No, but just the whole idea of it's childish to enjoy things from your childhood. I don't think that that's fair. I think that is a big part of my personality still. A lot of those things that made me happy then still make me happy today. And, one of the things that helped build our relationship, me and Sean, at the beginning was video games. We bonded on video games, and we still do. We like playing together and watching the other one beat levels and stuff. And
my favorite thing is, you'll call me or text me and be like, sorry I didn't ask you to hang out on Saturday. We were playing video games all day.
all day, and it's great.
Valid.
Yeah. I do think, just to preface my stance on video games, I would say I get worried about those kids who don't interact with other people, that just play video games all day and don't even have like the mics to talk to friends. That worries me about them because I think it's important to be social. But if you're playing video games with friends or even long distance friends, I think video games are awesome.
I have so much to say about this. So, I think the first thing that I have to say is that I think it's a generational thing. Yes. I do think the millennial generation and on, it's going to be okay for. Because there's a lot of things that cater to the millennials that's like bringing things back from childhood. And our generation also is heavily those Disney adults. And it's not just Disney. It's like all the other intellectual properties out there that we grew up on it through the 90s, 2000s. They're like a big thing that, one, I think companies are capitalizing on because they're like, less are having children. So like, bring your money here. So we're going to bring y'all in. And it's working. We're going. I mean, I went to that 90s night. Disneyland's 90s night, but again, we're Disney adults, so. But the other thing that I thought of with it is that our generation specifically is like the bridge between old and new world, like the digital revolution, so to speak, of like, I don't think video games were heavy before us. It was going to an arcade.
Mm-hmm.
And
or a laundromat.
Yeah, and like it was, yeah, and like, or like a little whatever machine at a diner or something. Like that's what people had. And yeah, there was the Ataris and the original computer stuff, but I think that's part of it. With that judgment, I feel it from a lot of like older generations. I don't feel it a ton from other millennials, because I like tend to get reactions of like, oh, jealous, oh my gosh, I'm going next week, or like, yeah, so
I love that, because that is perfect. I have conversations with my dad, and one thing that my dad always says is, your generation. And I'm like, what the freak? Like, so he gets on me and all these things, like, your generation does this. And it pisses me off so bad. So one day I told him, he said something. He was like, all y'all generation does is tinker around with things, and you text, and you can't pick up a phone and call, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, yeah, so are you going to, I can't remember exactly what I said, but it was so good. And I'm just going to move on. Maybe I'll remember it. But it was, he kept saying, you guys just play with technology. And I said, yeah, like one day you're going to, be thanking that generation when we create the thing that wipes your ass when you can't. Like,
yeah.
It's just like, that is one thing that really bugs me when they say, your generation, your generation, your generation. I'm like, well, yeah, your generation is a bunch of stubborn, like, people that can't move, like, they can't see different point of views.
Tell me what a PDF file is. Tell me what a PDF file is.
Right.
Yeah.
Seriously, because I don't know. Somebody tell me.
Do a 3-way FaceTime.
For real. Add a contact in your phone.
My dad's screensaver on his phone is a picture of me and my friend, and he can't figure out how to crop us out. He can't, but he's always calling me when he gets a new phone. He's like, I want that picture back on the phones. He's like, so how do I do that? And it's like, so I'm just like, don't get on my generation when you're asking me how to do things from my generation.
And oh my gosh, sorry.
No, that's
I'm like
okay.
taking over.
No, I need to calm down.
I just want to I want to jump to Mr. Todd's defense really quick. I agree with him in that I talk that way about my own generation. I'm like, my generation is so annoying.
Yeah.
But that's the problem with generalizations. We can't talk about a group of people like that so hatefully, because there's such a wide range of people in our generation. We're not all bad. There's a lot of screw-ups and people that are losers and stuff. But, and we do have our issues. But we could, just like you said, we could do the same thing with his generation. Thanks for ruining the housing market, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So it's interesting this is my thoughts about the whole like tinkering and like having the gadgets and all this stuff. Honestly, we contributed to the exponential growth of technology. Like through all of that, we have like young geniuses that created like Facebook, and it's changed the world. Created all these things that have changed the world. And then and it's crazy because I've been thinking about this lately for some reason. I don't remember what put me on it, but we learn, like, I feel like there's such a gap with how to pick things up and learning, like, we're making fun of what is a PDF file and how do you do this on your phone, but that's my mom. That's like a lot of parents and a lot of like older generations, and I'm like, you didn't like pick up the phone and figure this out yourself, because that's what we did and learned to do a ton, was like, what is this device, what is this gadget, through very crucial learning stages of life, like toddler years to 18, and we had all of that. And so now I'm like, give me a new piece of technology and I'm gonna figure it out. Like, give me a brand new laptop, I'm gonna figure out how to do things, and I don't see that in the previous generation. I think that's because of all that tinkering and everything we grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
Little shout out to Blakely. She fixed her Wi-Fi router this week.
I did!
All on her own.
I
Oh, independent woman.
Because she
I
called
was
the
so
help desk
scared.
and they were not helpful.
She's like, I'm IT today.
She's like,
I'm IT every freaking day at my job too.
she's like, I'm IT and don't come for my generation.
I did figure that out. They were no help, and so
They were just a
finally.
desk.
Sorry.
They were no help, and he was getting really short with me too on the phone. I was like, I'm just here asking clarifying questions. Here's my thing. There's nothing wrong with clarifying questions. If you don't ask the question, that's when you're dumb. So,
Amen.
but, and he was just like, so it was like, it wasn't connecting, and he was like, so did it connect? Did it connect? And I was like, no, it hasn't yet. It's still like trying to figure it out. So then he kind of gave up. He's like, well, I'm just going to submit your number and someone else will reach out to you that knows this, and this. I was like, whatever. They finally called me back yesterday, but I ignored it because I was like, I figured it out on my own.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I figured out how to reset my router to factory settings and then just redid it all. And so, proud of myself, but it was a
Yes.
struggle.
And you probably could have done that if it wasn't for what Sean's saying about our generation and how we did figure out things for ourselves. I mean, what were we maybe the first? I guess kids had typing class or whatever, but we were the first generation that had computer lab, right, as part of our curriculum, where we were taught how to use a computer, use PowerPoint, use Word, play the games, do all the stuff.
Oh,
I was
really
in
like
intensive math.
How was that?
We didn't get computers.
Oh, shoot.
But it sounds nice. Sounds really fun. I wish I experienced it.
I was just going to say, I really liked that game that taught you how to type on the computer. I don't know if you guys ever played that. I was obsessed with that game.
Which one? I feel like there were so
I
many.
can't remember what it was called, but it would teach you like how to position your hands, and you had to do so many exercises. And I would sit next to my friend, and we would see if we could beat each other. Like, I was obsessed with that.
I didn't like that because I was really bad at typing, which is funny because now I'm awesome at typing. Well, still make a lot of errors, but I type fast.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so like at work, I'm now using a keyboard and I'm typing. And I have to go back and fix my mistakes. I'm just like, ooh, the iPhone really spoiled me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can get Grammarly. I've never used it actually, but Grammarly I think will fix your errors, kind of do an autocorrect thing, or it'll like flag it and show you how to fix it.
Yeah.
I'll look into
I
that.
bet they have a free version. I
Yeah.
think there's a monthly one though.
I use Grammarly at work,
Really?
and it's awesome. My favorite thing is that it predicts what I'm going to say, so I don't have to spend as much time just like, boop, tap.
Oh, you just
And
space bar
and it spits it out, and I'm like, yeah. So, and most of the time it's right. Sometimes it's like, I want to fix that, but I love it.
Like I did not mean to be that cordial in this email.
No.
They're gonna feel my wrath.
Mhm.
Okay, the last thing I was gonna say about the society looking down on childhood things. My friend's grandma lived with him, and we were playing video games with him and all of his siblings, and we were all just having like a really great time playing video games. And she came out of her room and saw us and was like, "Are you guys seriously spending your time doing this?" And if it was my grandma, which my grandma would never say that, but I would want to say like, yeah, we're spending time together and we're having a lot of fun. So what issue do you see in this? The fact that we're looking at a screen? I mean, yeah, maybe it would be better if we were outside, but at least we're together having fun with this huge age gap of siblings. I feel like that should be like praised.
I don't know what the older generation's problem is, that like it's always you and that damn phone, or you and this, and it's like, yeah, we have technology. Sorry that you didn't have it growing up, and are you jealous? Like, but this is what we use to communicate and how we connect. Like we were talking about video games, like, and you just said, but that's how you connect. We're not being social. We're connecting and socializing, and we're using technology at the same time.
Yeah, there is a way to do it right.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain people that will use it wrong and that won't socialize and will just be on their phones all the time. But I think that's why it's important not to put restrictions on phones, because kids should figure out for themselves what's acceptable in a situation and what's not. It's not cool to be on your phone when you're having a conversation with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
You should be present and in the moment. But it's also okay to pull out your phone and be like, I want to show you this video or whatever. I'd like to show you this video.
May I?
Grammarly,
May
was that
I?
you?
The other thing that I have to say about this is, yes, our generation, I feel like, tinkers with a lot of things and can figure things out, but I feel like we also, there I am, generalizing our generation.
Happens.
But you're right.
But I also feel like we get a lot of crap, too, where it's like, you don't know how to do that. I'm the first one to admit, like, if I really don't know how to do something, I would like someone that has done it to hold my hand the first time, and that's it. That's all I'm asking. Can you show me at least once?
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as someone shows me once, then I'm like, okay, I got it. I don't need you anymore. Thank you. I appreciate it. Not, I don't need you in a bad way, but it's like, I appreciate, thank you, I've got it. But it's like, I get looked down on that, or I felt like I have in the past been looked down for asking for help when I need it. So I think that's interesting. So I always tell my team at work, like, ask for help. You can. There's no judgment because we all need it. So.
Damn. Well, what about you?
What about me? I've been talking a lot, so I apologize. But
Oh, sorry. I had a point.
Oh,
sorry.
Bring it back.
Back to the childish. I feel like a lot of people would consider my personality childish because I joke all the time. I'm just like, I try to keep things light. And I feel like people look down on that because it is like, I'm serious when I need to be. When I want to be. I don't want to be serious. Like, it makes me uncomfortable. So I feel like I just started telling myself, I'm like, okay, maybe I am childish, but it's okay. Like, as long as you get the things you need to do, I mean, and plus it's not like hurting anybody. Are you guys hurt by it?
Yeah, like once responsibilities are filled, like I don't know why you're describing your personality as childish. I never would describe that.
Mm-mm.
Thanks.
No.
Oh,
Same.
you
But
agree?
I see what you're saying about
thanks.
like it's better. It's more fun to be able to be lighthearted and not have to be so serious about things. And are you saying that that's kind of what people look at as childish, is like not being serious?
Yeah, that's how it used to be. Like, people used to be like, oh, like, I can't take you serious. You don't know how to be serious. But it's just like, I choose not to be. Like, I don't want to be serious in this moment.
Yeah, are we in a board meeting? Like, why do I need to be
Okay,
serious?
are you paying me? Like, I'm going to choose how I want to act, you know? So, that's how I feel like people should choose. Like, you know, if you're going to play video games, fuck it, play video games. Go do you. Because I'm still like, everybody always has something to say, so I'm just like, I just try to choose my battles now.
That's good.
So,
Smart.
mm.
Smart.
Yes, come through. Are you about to drop some bars right now, Blakely?
No, that's like the only South Park line that I know.
Oh,
It's from South Park.
It's from South Park.
okay.
I thought you was
I
freestyling.
was like,
Because it's like the only episode that I've ever watched. And it's about the LDS Church.
that's funny.
I haven't seen it.
So me, I would have loved as growing up, honestly, kind of a little bit about what we were talking about, but just like how to do things. I think a big thing for me is like budgeting. Like, parents are always like, well, you need to have a job and you need to save money, but like, what does that look like? How much do I put into savings? How much do I need for this? And how much do I need for that? Like today, I spent over $1,000 on new tires. But that includes everything. And I'm just like, everybody growing up told me, oh, new tires are about $400, $500. So when I got my bill for like $1,000, I was like, did I get bamboozled or something?
Well, I mean, at that time they probably were.
I know.
400 or 500.
But even talking to my dad, because I've never switched out. This is my first car that I've ever had. And I've never had to buy new tires or anything. I'd gone with my parents. But I was never like, ooh, Dad, let me see how much you paid. Like, also that was considered very rude. Growing up, like, I never asked my parents how much they paid for this or that. Or, like, I couldn't ask them, how much do you, Mom, make? And things like that was bad. I can ask now that I have a job. But everybody, like, the number 400 keeps ringing in my head. Like, tires are always going to cost $400. So when I saw my bill, I was like, did I get cheated? Like, what was that? So I had to go, again, me asking questions. I went to my boss and I said, is that normal? And he was like, yeah, that's fine. So I was like, okay, I just want to make sure I wasn't played or anything like that. But I just wish that, and I know there's videos and things about this, but I just wish that we were taught how to have a budget, what, you know, how to file taxes, how to do different things that people just expect you to know.
See, it's funny you say that because me and my cousin, her name's Beatrice, and she has a son, and so like I like watched him. I like talk to her like every day, and I like watch her son grow up, and we're just like talking about like what things that we wish we knew, like as a kid. And she was just saying like, I'm just gonna tell Goni all this, and then it got to the point where we're like, no, like telling's not enough. Like he needs to comprehend what is like he's being told. That way he understands. Okay, this, and this is why this is important. And we feel like we were always just told like, oh, you got to do this, but we never knew why. So I feel like comprehension is something that I would teach.
Yeah, we didn't know why or how to even start because, yeah, we were told how to do it, never shown, it was never explained. And you said, I can't remember the term or phrase that you used, but I was just going to say I am so frustrated with the freaking education system in the U.S. right now because I think there are so many useless classes that are core. I mean, we joke about it on memes about, like, another day without using the Pythagorean
theorem.
I don't even know how to say it. And, like, all the dumb stuff that we had to learn for some reason. I think that I'm very frustrated with it, and I'm frustrated that we were never taught the stuff that would have actually been useful in life. You know, how to file taxes, and it's because they don't want us to know. They don't want us to know how to file our taxes in a way that is beneficial to us, where our money is going the longest it can. They want to make sure that we just get taken advantage of every single year, and then our money gets sent off to other countries to be used.
Sorry.
No, I just want to say, not to be political, but I just did. What were you going to say?
I deal with people's money. I deal with people's money every day, and it is just amazing to me how much goes places that we don't even know. So I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just feel like there's a lot of other important things that we could be taught in school to prepare us for adulthood that we're not taught. And instead we have to take 4 years of math and 3 years of science. And I get it. We should be versed in things so that we know what career paths to take, but I think that could be figured out in the first 1 or 2 courses.
Yeah. Also, it was harder, like, back then when they were, like, the older generations were growing up. I mean, it was easier. I mean, like, getting a house and, like, having your shit together, having a family on one income, you know. Now everything's just so expensive. So I really do feel like the millennials and Gen Z, like, now is kind of, like, shitty, like, trying to survive in the world with what's going on. So
well, it's that meme, right, that it's like your parent says, well, when I was 21 I had 2 kids and a nice house and all these things. They're like, why don't you have that? And it's like, because you guys have ruined it for us. I can afford barely an apartment. Like, it's crazy what the market and economy looks like today. Very different from when. So it's funny, the generation that raised us, it's very different. So going back to education, I will take that to heart. Like, it was always pounded into me growing up that you have to go to college, you have to have an education, you have to have this, like, you can't do anything without it, you can't have a job, they're going to look at you, and if you don't have a degree, like, you can't do this, X, Y, and Z. I wish I would have stuck to my guns, because I really did not want to go to college, but, I mean, I'm glad I did, I love learning, but, I will raise my kids with the fact that or the precedent principles, like, you don't have to go to college, because just by going to college doesn't mean you're going to become somebody. But I want you to have a plan. I want you to do something with your life.
And the plan doesn't always mean college.
Right.
Yeah, we were totally taught that, like, if you don't go to college, your life's going to be miserable. And it's just so not true. I've seen so many people without college degrees go on to have amazing careers.
Amazing.
And they have the experience because instead of spending that time paying all this money and going into debt, they had the opportunity to get in the workforce and just start putting in the time and gaining the experience. It's awesome.
Yeah. You graduate college and it's like, oh, you need four years of this. And I'm like, so what was my 4 years? Like, nothing?
Yeah.
I do like that a lot of things are turning into more of degree or equivalent of experience. Because I think that definitely in today's tech world, there's a lot of realization that, like, there's people that are out here, like, you can learn stuff on YouTube, on the internet. I'm looking up, and now with AI, like, we just saw a thing the other day with, like, AI that can generate Excel formulas for you. You just put in, like, what you're wanting it to do, and it will give you the formula. Like,
I love Excel.
and that's the
Didn't know
stuff
about
that I
that.
also was like, I'm using this today. I learned this in computer class, or in, like, an accounting class in high school, and we learned it in, like, what, QuickBooks or something, and Microsoft Excel, and I'm like, wow, I'm actually using this stuff today in life. The math calculations, kind of with Excel formulas, it's like building it out is kind of mathy, or there's math
And that's why I
stuff,
say
but,
basic math is okay, and like algebra and stuff.
but totally, like, there's so much that we're not taught, and it definitely is to keep us in this system,
Mm-hmm.
this thing that's been built that since you're young, you're being conditioned to go to this thing during the day, school, and you follow rules and you have this structure, and then it starts becoming earlier and earlier as you get older, and they don't teach you things like, you guys mentioned things like savings and taxes and that stuff, and I think there's even a deeper level of financial literacy that I wish I had known. And this actually is, like, one of the things I wrote down, so I'm tying it into your conversation, but, like, the financial literacy stuff, specifically, like, making money work for you, not just a savings account, because I think that's still, like, just to have a 9-to-5 kind of life, but, like, learning investments, learning owning real estate, owning businesses and trust funds, for that to, like, you know, for you to do this thing, and, like, tax loopholes so that you can, like, be like all the famous people and the billionaires that have all this money, and then they're getting scrutinized because it's like, they only paid this much in taxes. That's because they know how to make money work for them. We don't get to know that. Of course they don't want to tell people how to do that, because then everybody would be out of this system of slavery, enslavement that we're in. And so, super frustrating, and definitely something that I was like, I wish I was taught this stuff, so that, you know, and it's crazy, the things that I listen to now with financial literacy, they're like, if you do this at this early on in your life, at like 20 years old, and you just do this much, and then if you even wait 5 or 10 years and do more than that amount at 20, you still won't compound as much as if you would have started earlier with a less amount.
I know.
And I'm like, it pisses me off, because I'm like, threw all that away, all that time, but you shouldn't focus on that. You should just, like, focus on, like, just start now, do it, and, like, make that commitment, or else you're just gonna 10 years from now you're like, and then I was bitching about it and I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So
I did have one teacher, so my senior year of high school, the first semester you take government, and then the second you take econ, or you switch, whatever. It's whatever comes first. You just take them, whatever. So I had my econ class my first semester, and he taught us. He was like, I want to teach you something right now. He's like, open up a Roth IRA and put in $1,000 into it. Now you have to make that money. So he's like, just say you made it babysitting. And he's like, by the time you're ready to retire, you will have millions of dollars by just putting $1,000 in there at 18. So, like, and that has always stuck with me. I literally went home to my dad and I said, can I do that? And I was limited by my dad. I wasn't 18 yet and couldn't do it. And now on me, right? Because I haven't done it, but I've invested in other things since then. But it's like, I'm grateful for that teacher. That one thing has stuck with me. I'm now, 11 years out from that, and that is still in my brain all the time. So there are some good people in the education system, but I just wish they would do things more like that. So not even like money-wise, but teach me how to change a tire. Like, teach me something like that. I'm always terrified on the freeway. If I hit something, I'm like, what do I do? My first instinct is to call my dad, but he's all the way in Georgia. He can't do anything for me. So...
Call Cooper.
It's funny because, like...
Well, I will. That's what I would do and have done.
Those, like, home ec classes are what slowly they're, like, getting rid of over time, which those were my classes. I did cooking, I did sewing, I did auto, and that's where I learned a lot about cars. That's where I learned a lot about, and I was like, that's the stuff I love. And then these just, like, required math and required English. I'm like, okay, when am I gonna, well, I guess now in my emails, I'm like, I'm glad I know how to sentence structure. But,
well, English makes sense.
I had a financial, I literally was financial literacy in high school. And I remember that same thing about, like, Roth IRAs. We learned a lot of, like, Dave Ramsey lessons and stuff and that. But even the stuff I'm learning today, like Roth IRAs, you actually don't just put money into it. You actually have to choose what you want that money in the Roth IRA to invest into. And that everyone's just more like, just is like, yeah, put money into our Roth IRA. No one told me, like, you have to, like, actually, and then that money, you have to decide what it actually invests into. It's not just like this thing that you just put it in and let it go. Yeah. So many things. Anyway.
There's one thing, sorry, when you were explaining your story about your teacher, there was one thing like, I forgot his name. It was like Mr. Carter or something. I was not like a good student or anything, and I was not like, it was like a homeroom teacher or something. Like, he wasn't like a teacher who taught me, but he like told everybody, he was like, find something you like to do, and then find a way to make money off of it. And, like, that was one thing that, I feel like that was the only lesson that I've really taken out of high school. And I was just like, okay, I need to find something that I like to do. So, yeah, I do feel like there are some good people in the educational industry.
Yeah, industry is right. And I would agree that like there definitely are good people, and it's sad because the good people that are there are limited by the education system to teach what they are supposed to teach, and they're not supposed to veer from the curriculum, even though the curriculum doesn't make sense. So it's frustrating.
Also, like when I was in intensive math, the class like right across the room was home ec, and so like they would always bake cookies, and I would get so jealous. Yeah.
I love the cooking classes. I think I even love sewing, but I feel like there's stuff from cooking classes that I still use today.
Oh yeah.
It was
my gosh.
Good foundation for me.
Well, I think too it's like home ec classes or classes in that type of area. There's practical application. It's like it's relevant to us and what we're going through. Where it's like if you're learning Pythagorean theorem, when am I going to use that?
Yeah.
But learning how to cook, learning how to change a tire, all of the automotive stuff that you learned, learning how to sew. I don't know how to sew, so I'm coming to you guys, I guess.
Mm.
But, like, that stuff we can apply pretty much every day in our lives.
I also feel like a good, like, curriculum could be, like, social interactions with people.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Like, just teaching people how to be around other people or how to make friends. Like, even for people who, like, struggle with, like, talking because they're too shy, I feel like that could have been a valuable class.
Yeah, they have etiquette. Maybe they can tie that into etiquette or, like, yeah, something like that.
Public speaking. Some classes touch on that, but yeah.
Well, one thing that I posed with this question, just like I wish I, like, do stuff in my early adult years, like do more with that time to set my future up is what, because that's something in my 30s that I'm like, oh my gosh, if I would have started this when I was in my 20s and like and maybe not even started, you know, the financial literacy thing, but even just like don't party as much. Like don't like waste your time with that, because there is a good part of my life that was all that there was, and it's like that could have been prime time for a lot of other things that I'm like trying to do now.
I'm going to go off on this because I feel like I didn't party. I don't feel it. I know I didn't. I didn't party, and I actually was very responsible. I was very responsible with my budget. I put myself through school with the help of a military GI Bill, but other than that, I didn't have outside help. It was all me, and I am proud of that. I'm proud that I didn't have to take out a loan or go into debt. And I thought I was doing everything right. I thought that, you know, I was getting my degrees and I was not going into debt. I was working, I was having fun, but not too much fun. And I'm like, I feel a little bit gypped, to be honest, because college was great for me socially. And
Better be.
The people that I met, the experiences that I had, the fun that I had and everything, that's what I loved college for. But as far as an education or setting me up for a career, I feel gypped. And I tell everyone now who's younger than me, if the career path that you're going into requires a college degree, then yes, please go to college. If not, get into the workforce, because you are wasting time and money to go to college and have these people who are underqualified and don't really care teach you things that you don't really need. And the sad thing about that education system, not to be like a Debbie Downer, but there's so much cheating that goes on, and it's so easy to cheat these days. So many kids just pass through school, but they don't really learn anything. They just get the grades and move through. And it's
C's get degrees. That's what everybody says, right?
And it's getting to the point too where like even the teachers start to create assignments that is just busy work to get you to do stuff. Comment on two people's posts about this article that you guys were supposed to read. Those were the most frustrating assignments in all of college, and I can't even believe that wasn't an elementary school assignment, because people would just be like, I really like how you said bread tastes good. I agree, bread does taste good, and they get points for that. I'm like, that is so pointless.
Yeah.
I
could have went to college.
I didn't go to college, and I think college is exactly what Cooper said. Go if that's truly what you want to do, and you need a degree to do that. To be a doctor. And if you really want to be a doctor, don't be out there and be an asshole doctor because you just did it to get money or like your parents. Yeah. So anyway, that's not what I was meaning. What I was meaning is I spent a lot of time partying, and instead of taking advantage of early years of social media, like I was way into YouTube when I was in high school, and it was like the first generation YouTube. And I'm like, if I would have got into YouTube then, like, and I wish that I had changed my priorities, because now those things that are priority to me about like YouTube and like social media, I'm like, wow, why didn't I really do it then? So that's more of it, not like going to college and that stuff.
But I think kind of bouncing off both of you. So you're saying spend your time, you wish you would have spent your time where it would have been most beneficial for you. But I think what Cooper is saying too is, you know, I felt like I had to play everything by the book. I didn't have the freedom to go to a party or do something crazy, like felt like I had to play to a book, like a certain script.
That, and I also kind of what you were saying before, I thought there was only one path to be successful, and that was college.
Yeah.
And it's not.
And I would kind of agree with Cooper. I'm along the same lines. I didn't do anything crazy growing up, and I'm glad I didn't do anything wild, because who knows what would have happened. But I wish I would have let myself live a little bit more. Like I always had to, let loose. I always had to have the good grades. I had to have the good grades first to do anything. That was a rule in my house, and so I kind of lived by that. Like if my school was failing, that's what I focused on, and so. I don't think I realized that I wouldn't say wasting my life, but I was going a direction that I didn't really want to until my last semester of college. And I was balancing 18 credits, and I was balancing a job, and then I was also trying to balance a social life. I was like, this is exhausting. I just want to live. I don't want to have so much structure. And I do love structure. I can't live without structure, but right. So much of it can be detrimental.
For sure.
Is that kind of what you were saying, is you want to spend your time here in things that are beneficial instead of wasting it, right?
Yeah, and like I was like, I'm gonna be a failure because I didn't go to college, and like I can't do college, and so I'm not gonna ever make a lot of money. I'm gonna be working, you know, I like Gandolfo's. I worked there for 2 years, and I'm like, this is my life, job hopping and not getting above $10 an hour, $12 an hour, whatever, like 10 even.
Where did you not work, Sean?
So.
Right, High School Musical, Gandolfo's.
Seriously, I worked for AT&T. I worked for a lot of places. Yeah. Like,
just print out your resume.
Yeah.
I feel like every 6 months I'm learning. You'll mention something. I'm like, you work there too.
Honestly, me too.
There's a time that I worked. Yeah, I had over, like on my resume, if I listed everywhere I worked, it would be a lot. Anyway.
Which I think is good though, because you knew that you had to work if you wanted something.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good principle.
And that's because I always, like from day one, I had to work to get my own stuff.
Yeah.
I was not.
And now look at you.
Gifted anything.
Talented.
Shouldn't say gifted. That. But anyway, yeah, just doing more while freer. What do you think?
Okay. I feel like I was kind of in the middle where I definitely wish that I had more structure growing up. It was a different kind of structure because I always feel like I always bring up, like, I'm Tongan. Like, did y'all know I'm Tongan? Mm-hmm. But it really does, like, it was a big part of my life growing up, so that's why I, like, come back to it. But it was, like, structured in a different way. It was more like, oh, these are our roles, so, like, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. But it wasn't anything that was, like, preparing me for a future. Like, so I always feel like I wish that I did have the structure that you guys had. I feel like I would have been a different person, but I don't know if we would be hanging out, so I'm glad that I had no structure.
It's so funny you bring that up because there's so many things that I'm just like, it ties back to like cultural upbringing. And I was just showing Cooper something the other day on Instagram that I was like, this is like epitome Tongan cultural, like, the scene of this movie. And yeah, it's just funny to bring that up because that is very structured, but it's structured for the cultural expectations, not structured for like life achievement, growth, getting a job, getting a degree.
It was more like, I feel like, just surviving, because my parents, they both came from the islands, so like just surviving was the only thing that they cared about. And I feel like, I mean, I appreciate everything they did, but I feel like times have changed, and like so should like traditions and the way things are run. But
And I think that, going off of that, like, the cool thing about this day and age is we can make our own traditions, and that's cool. We can still take from our parents and the culture that we were raised in, but make it our own. I think that's becoming more accepted now.
Like being childish.
Like being childish.
yes, let's go watch Disney. Yeah, I do like that. But does anybody have anything lighthearted that we can end on?
Yeah, I do.
Oh wow, you're so prepared.
Yeah. What do you expect? I feel like one of those things that adulthood surprised me with. Everybody talks about the never-ending chore of laundry, and I actually enjoy laundry, so that's not my cry for help. But I would say the thing that's never-ending for me is cooking. I'm like, it's so annoying to have to cook every day and every meal. And I love eating out, and we eat out a lot.
Exposed.
Partly because I don't enjoy cooking. And I think what makes it frustrating for me is that you spend all this time working on a meal, and then it ends up being kind of not good, like disappointing. And it's really frustrating when I make like a really awesome steak one week, and then I try to do it the next week, and it sucks. And I did everything the same, and I have no idea why it sucks. That's really frustrating. So I'm like, for me, if I could eat out for every meal, I probably would. I'd get sick of the places in my area, but maybe I'd just try them all, you know? And so that's kind of like my adulthood chore that I'm like, that's the one I resent. That's the one I don't look forward to, because it's essential.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, not to change it, but just talking about resenting like adulthood chores, like cutting the grass, like if you own property, and like how fast the grass grows, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I just cut this like 2 days ago. Like, why is it up to my knees?
You are speaking my language,
I'm just saying,
like,
adult chores really be tripping me out.
Wait, how many times did I Marco Polo you this month saying this is the last time I'm going to cut the grass this year? Like, at least 4.
Yes.
Well,
the other day, too, you sent me a video, and you were like, I'm taking a break cutting the grass, and then I came over like 2 days later. I was like, you cut the grass 2 days ago?
Yeah.
Not to like shame you or anything, but it just grows.
Yeah.
It'd be growing.
That green grass grows all around.
And the green grass grows all around.
I hate grass. I think that we should have a grass revolution. Somebody told us that we should have it in our yards for some dumbass reason, and I hate them. Because there's this person, a lot of people actually, but one accountant specific that I can't remember their name, they planted clover in their garden, or in their yard. So instead of grass, it's all clover. It looks beautiful. It's definitely more messy, but it doesn't get higher than a couple inches. And I think they said that they mow it like once a summer. Wow. It takes way less water to keep it green. It's way better for the environment. And like their pets do a great job in it. Like that's when I have my own property, my own house, I'm doing clover. I'm not doing grass.
Yeah.
So you want some clovers in the atmosphere?
Oh my gosh, you won't get that.
Dude,
no, is that it? Like an Indian?
I love that movie.
You've never seen Bring It On?
Yeah.
Do we add it to our list?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's list worthy, to be
that
honest.
the cheerleader one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I enjoy it. I like it a lot, but I don't know if it's list worthy.
Okay.
I'm very grateful Cooper cuts the grass around here, because that is one of the things that I hate the most is cutting grass. And I also have really bad allergies. And so Cooper just out there cutting it, dealing with the snakes and the
I actually didn't see any
sprinklers.
snakes this year.
Oh,
But
okay.
last year I saw a lot.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Did you tell me about this?
I don't know, but I think it's because there's this stump in our yard that I just let overgrow with like grass and other weeds and stuff. I think they all live in there and I just stay away from it.
Oh yeah, valid.
Oh, I'd be terrified.
Yeah. Also, Cooper like mows his neighbor's grass too, so he's going above and beyond.
We
You're
love
just
that.
so kind. Oh yeah, shout out to Beatrice.
And Beatrice too.
Yeah. You're great.
Yeah, I would say I like cooking. I think I'm very good at it. But I don't like doing it every day. But then at the same time, I hesitate because I'm like, okay, gosh, I can't afford going out every day, but it's so much easier, and there's so many more options because I can't cook everything that I want to go out and eat. So I think actually that's something that Sean has taught me, and you have helped me with as well. Is I sometimes, and I'm getting better as I'm becoming more financially free, but I live on this mentality of college. Like, I have to, if I go out and eat, I have to eat it all. Or I have to, if I go out to eat this day, I have to wait like 6 days or 5 days before I can go out again because I need to save money. But you guys have taught and calmed me down that it's okay. It's part of that living freely kind of thing. It's like, it's okay to do something fun.
I'm a very guilty spender. Everything I spend money on, I feel guilty about afterwards. Except for food. I buy food, I rarely feel guilty for it because it's always great. And I'm down to spend $30 on Mr. Shabu every freaking
Oh my
week.
gosh, I know, me too, and I don't even make that much. But I feel like, wait, you were just talking about feeling guilty.
Guilty spender.
Yeah, I feel like that's a guilty pleasure, like food.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Especially Mr. Shabu because we eat so much.
Bruh, I know.
Shout out to Mr. Shabu and Orem. They're
I'm just
amazing.
saying, thanks for the gout. Like, things really do be coming through. Sponsor us. No kidding.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any adult chores that you guys hate?
It's mowing the lawn. Like, that's my number one worst thing.
Freaking hate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like our neighbors, like this lady, she's literally outside. And if you're watching, hi. But
Sponsor us.
She's outside every day, and I swear she's like with scissors and like a ruler, like just looking at the line hedge or the edge of the grass. I'm just like, her grass do be looking kind of good though. So like I can't say shit, but it does look kind of good.
I really like to do laundry, but I do not like to fold laundry. I just told Cooper the other day. I was just like, guess what? We went to Vegas a couple months ago, and I like exploded my room with clothes because I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna wear. I don't know what I'm gonna bring. I ended up bringing the clothes that I usually wear every day, anyways. But clothes everywhere. And I told Cooper, I was like, this weekend I cleaned them all up. But now there's another load of laundry on the floor because I don't like folding.
Yeah.
So I am not about the wrinkled look. So if you don't fold your clothes, they get wrinkly. So then I just throw them back in the dryer and let them steam.
Genius. Somebody taught me that. Was that? I feel like somebody in this group.
It was not me.
Anyways, yeah, no, I hate folding laundry. I just like, as soon as it's as long as it's clean, I don't care. Like, I do not care. I'm gonna step outside in it. So.
I actually like folding laundry because it's warm and it smells good. I just have the problem with I do all the batches and then I fold all the laundry and there's not enough room on the bed to like set all the piles. That's the only problem.
See, I also hate folding laundries because like every fold is coming out different. Like, I just don't know how to do it and I don't have the patience. Same with cooking. I don't have the patience
Every
for cooking.
meal is coming out different, even though I followed the recipe.
That's what I'm saying. Unless it's like baking a cake, with the directions on the back, or like putting this in the oven, setting a timer for 16 minutes, making ramen noodles. That's it. My culinary doesn't go beyond that.
I will say, even when you make ramen and it hits, if you make a meal that hits, the like reward, there's not a lot that can compete with that. Like, it's very rewarding to make food yourself that tastes really good. Just sucks when you get it wrong.
I know. I think it sucks more when like you have to feed it to other people, or like when you're expecting other people to eat it. Because like if I'm doing it myself, I'm like, this shit sucks, but I'm not wasting my money, so I'm gonna eat all of this right now.
Same.
I always tell people, like, if I recommend a place or if I make something, I'm like, if you hate it, I didn't make it. Or if you don't like this place, I didn't tell you to go here.
Okay.
Just, you need to remember that.
Bruh, I tell people, I'm like, you're an adult, you make your own adult decisions, so take accountability. But anyways, that brings us to the end of our podcast. I had a really great time talking with y'all. If there's anything that y'all should take away from this is don't come for Blakely's generation, okay? Because she'll come for you. And so will we.
You are my generation.
Girl, don't lump me in with y'all. Just kidding. But anyways, thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you on our next podcast. Bitzes out.
Bye.